Hi, and welcome to this educational video on vendor returns, recalls, and supply shortages. In this video, you will learn about vendor returns, recalls, and supply shortages, the impacts they have, and how they are generally handled within supply chain for a healthcare facility. This video is presented by Trident Edge Consulting, where it is our mission to provide thoughtful instruction, tips, and guidance on healthcare supply chain topics to passionate supply chain professionals just like you. A vendor return is the return of goods to the vendor. Vendor returns are common in healthcare facilities, mostly due to the large number of goods that are purchased and received each day. It should be noted that even though this process can be challenging to manage, it is financially important to return unwanted, unneeded, and damaged items to the vendor so that a refund can be obtained. Some common situations that result in returning goods to a vendor include the following. The wrong product was sent. The supplier sent a greater quantity of a product than was ordered, or shipped the same order twice. The product arrived damaged or unusable. An item was ordered and is no longer required. The supplier has recalled a product, or a product is being shipped to a supplier for repair. Depending upon a healthcare facility's procedure, the vendor return process can be complex as it involves multiple departments and handoffs. In most organizations, the department that needs to return the goods will fill out a hospital form and send this form to the purchasing department. Similarly, some organizations allow the department to call the purchasing department to initiate the vendor return process. Either way, the purchasing department typically manages the process for contacting the vendor and coordinating the return. During their conversation with the vendor, the purchasing staff member who is coordinating the return will obtain approval from the vendor along with shipping instructions. Most vendors will provide a return or RTV number as their official approval to return goods. Depending upon whether the vendor or the hospital is paying for shipping, the vendor may email a prepaid courier label to the purchasing staff member. After getting approval from the vendor, the buyer will notify the person who initiated the return that the return has been approved and can be sent to the vendor. Typically, the buyer also provides the shipping address and the return or RTV number to this person, along with the prepaid courier label if the vendor provided this. The person who initiated the return will then work with the shipping and receiving staff to package and return and ship it to the vendor. Finally, the vendor will process the return on their side and will send a credit memo to the accounts payable department if applicable. Naturally, this process varies from hospital to hospital, so check with your supervisor to understand how this works at your organization. From a healthcare perspective, a recall is an event that occurs when a manufacturer takes action to fix or replace a product. Recalls are primarily initiated when consumer or patient safety is at risk or when a product is defective. To initiate a recall, the manufacturer will notify its customers directly, plus they will communicate recall information using national press releases and other notification solutions such as ECRI and Notisphere. It is also worth noting that the FDA maintains a list of medical device recalls in a medical device recall database. As you can imagine, recalls are unfortunate and unforeseen incidents for healthcare facilities. Not only do they disrupt operations by requiring immediate attention, they can also lead to unexpected supply shortages. For example, if 100% of a product in your hospital is recalled, you will suddenly have a significant supply chain issue affecting patient care. Similarly, in some situations, the manufacturer cannot provide replacements immediately, leading to an even bigger challenge for the clinicians and the supply chain staff. When a recall is initiated, it is crucial for the supply chain management staff to quickly determine if products within the hospital are affected. If so, it is critical to remove the recalled products and return them to the manufacturer. When a recall results in a product shortage at a hospital, the hospital will use their product substitution and/or product conversion process to address the shortage. Supply shortages are an unfortunate reality for healthcare facilities. Common causes include higher demand for products than expected, safety issues reported to the manufacturer, and when manufacturers cannot produce the necessary volumes. This can be caused by a backorder, issues within the manufacturer's production facility, economic crises, transportation delays, and even global health and/or acts of nature affecting workforce availability. For example, the COVID pandemic demonstrated that unprecedented circumstances can arise and the healthcare supply chain may not be fully prepared. More specifically, the recent COVID pandemic led to a significant increase in demand for PPE equipment. Hospitals and state health agencies were not prepared to absorb the increased demand, and manufacturers were not prepared to produce at the volumes required. As a healthcare supply chain professional, it is important to recognize that facilities must act quickly when supply shortages become known so that substitutes can be identified and to ensure that your facility is properly prioritized by healthcare distributors and manufacturers. When a hospital encounters a product shortage or a manufacturer stops producing a particular product, hospitals use their internal product substitution and product conversion processes to resolve the issue in an efficient manner. What is a product substitution? The term product substitution refers to a temporary process of using a substitute item until the desired product becomes available. What is a product conversion? The term product conversion refers to the process of permanently replacing a product with a replacement product. Both processes follow similar paths within the healthcare setting. The key difference is that the product substitution process guides the hospital to return to the original product at some point in the future, and the product conversion process ends once the new product has been approved, acquired, and stocked where necessary. Product substitutions and product conversions start with researching products to identify possible replacements. Next, clinical review is required, followed by approval or rejection of each possible replacement. Typically, multiple stakeholders such as value analysis, nursing, contracting, purchasing, inventory, and finance work together to identify, evaluate, and approve each product. Once approved, there is typically a detailed plan developed to ensure adequate clinical and servicing occurs and that the new products are acquired and stocked in accordance with the specific timeline. It is also worth noting that whenever the old product is still in stock, there is significant planning involved to minimize the chances of waste. For a healthcare facility to achieve success with these processes, the below practices are recommended. Establish a value analysis or contract managing team that manages the product substitution and conversion processes. Create and utilize standardized clinical evaluation checklists as a way of ensuring all the proper stakeholders are involved and common risks are mitigated. Obtain validation from clinical staff that the newly identified product will suffice. Clinical documentation is updated, plus in-servicing is scheduled in a way that maximizes the education of and adoption by clinical staff. Establish a comprehensive product substitution list that can be accessed by all stakeholders, including clinicians, management, and supply chain. Configure inventory management system to link substitutes and replacements to the original item. Ideally, the software will automatically replace items on requisitions when a replacement or substitute is in place. Since product substitution and product conversion processes are different at each healthcare organization, be sure to consult with your manager or supervisor to better understand your organization's specific processes. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. I hope you enjoyed this video and picked up some valuable information about vendor returns, recalls, and supply shortages. If you enjoyed today's video, please like and subscribe so we know that you would like to see more of this type of content.